Hey folks, how's it going? Chris here from MOdXtra Games and Collectibles. Welcome to my channel. An absolute pleasure to have you with me here today. And in this video today, in this installment, I fancy talking a little bit about Marvel Legends, because I am all about the new Black Widow book in Marvel Legends, you know, the extra articulated female body. And with the pre-order for Phoenix coming this week, may even be today by the time I post this video, and with my Warbird, which is on the new book also, coming in a matter of weeks, I was just sitting down, contemplating, thinking about characters, female Marvel characters, that I think would be great contenders for the new book. So I sat down and made a list. And I'm going to present it to you now, today, for your viewing pleasure. 10 characters from the Marvel comic books I think would make an excellent fit for the new Marvel Legends female book. These are, of course, just my subjective view. I've resisted all urges to make it entirely an X-Men related wish list. Regular viewers around these parts will know that my Marvel Legends collecting is mostly focused on X-Men characters because of my fond love of 90s X-Men. But, you know, these are all characters I like, and rather than just slamming out a wish list, I had a little think about some criteria around the book and what would have some badass shelf presence with the increased articulation. So yeah, that's what I've structured my list about. So if you're ready, I'm ready. Shall we get into it? Okay then folks, so I'm going to kick this one off with something for all the fans of the cosmic-y Marvel type stuff, and I'm going to suggest Gamora. When I was putting this list together the other night, I was specifically thinking about the more acrobatic, more badass, kind of hand-to-hand combatant type characters, and frankly, no one is more capable of kicking ass than Gamora. She would benefit massively, I think, from the articulation offered by the new book. There have been a fair few Gamoras in Marvel Legends, but they're almost exclusively MCU focused, and it's been a real long time, at least to my recollection, since we've had a comic book version of the Gamora character. She's also had quite the selection of outfits through the years, and admittedly some of them are more salacious than others, which may remove her from consideration by the Hasbro team, but a solid figure of her in one of her more practical, more combat-centric outfits from more recent years, like the Graham black armoured outfit she wore during the Brian Michael Bendis run, or her hooded caped look with the padded style sweatshirt from her own series a couple of years back would be good contenders, perhaps. Although, now that I say it out loud, I do wonder if a hood and a cape would then negate the benefits of the extra articulation. But you get where I'm coming from. In any case, I'm putting up Gamora as one of my contenders that I think would be a great fit for the new female book. Going to stick to the cosmic vibe with my selection for the next pick, and I'm going to present to you now Angela, Asgardian's assassin. Sticking to my core criteria, I'm going to continue the trend of selecting a kind of warrior type known for making big combat moves that we could then potentially replicate with the improved articulation. And, you know, Angela, she makes big combat moves. She's not been around for a while in the line. The last time we got an Angela figure, to my knowledge, was in the Titus Build-A-Figure wave, which was, what, 2017? So she's been out of rotation, I think, long enough to warrant an upgrade, and, you know, the new articulation book would be a solid upgrade for this character. Her loadout would benefit from a bit of an upgrade too. Her sword and her axe, Icos and Zyphors, they're still in use, actually. They turned up a little while ago. I've got a set that came with the retro cardback Spiral figure. But with some updated equipment and an updated articulation book, just think of the world of possibility on your shelf with Angela throwing like an epic sword swing pose with her magic ribbons all wisping around her and stuff. I think it would be great. She is definitely a tremendous candidate for the new female book. Right, I'm going to bring us back to Earth right now, or Terra, or Midgard. Anyway, time for some more grounded earthly heroes to consider, and my next pick is going to be Electra. Before we head to the comments, I know we've had 2 Electras in the last year alone. Both of those, though, I would argue, are pretty specific, pretty niche costumes. So we had the white outfit in the Daredevil, Bullseye, and Electra 3-pack. And then we've had the more recent version with the, I think we call it the Woman Without Fear costume. So they're fairly niche. I think it's time to get that new book in use with an Electra in her classic red ninja costume. With a big hair on a head sculpt or the headscarf. I'm easy. Or even both. You know, give us both, Hasbro. Throw in 2 head sculpts. Again, I'm following my own rules here, my own criteria. I'm looking at female Marvel characters that I think would be great to pose in more gymnastic-style combat poses. And frankly, they don't come much more limber than Electra, you know, the lethal martial arts assassin that was trained by the Chaste and the Hand. When you say Electra, you know, my mind goes back to the time I spent as a comic reader in the 90s and thinking back to all those panels of Electra in wild, sprawling, kicky, stabby poses, taking down hand ninjas left, right, and centre. And while I'll admit, I suspect there was possibly a bit of a different artistic agenda to some of those more extraordinary, inhuman movements and poses they were drawing her in back then, I still think she'd be a great fit to utilise the full potential of the new Marvel Legends female book. Let's get a kicking some heads in, folks. Okay, I'm going to stay on Earth now. I'm going to go to New York, get into the street-level hero scene for the next couple now. My next pick I'd like to present to you is Black Cat. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I know I said at the top of the video, these are all characters I like, but I'm not actually the biggest fan of Black Cat. However, I know that there is plenty of Marvel Legends collectors out there who have a kind of Spider-Man focus around their Marvel Legends collecting, just like I have an X-Men style focus around my Marvel Legends collecting. I know these folks are also really eager for a new Black Cat. And I'm pretty confident I'm going to end up eliciting some comments because there's an X-Men character, a much-wanted X-Men character that I'm going to be overlooking. So I'm throwing Black Cat on the list because I need to chuck one in from outside my wheelhouse a little bit, be a team player, and minimise the comments. Because, spoiler alert, I've not put Rachel Summers on, folks. And in any case, she's most definitely a good fit to take advantage of the extra articulation. You know, she's an agile, acrobatic, cat burglar type. She grapples around the city. She climbs buildings, sneaks in through windows. There's so much that you could do with that, with the character profile, with the storytelling. And by adding in the double-jointed elbows, the butterfly shoulders, the extra torso articulation, you open up a world of possibility with some great shelf presence. We've not had a Black Cat in the line since a card back release back in 2022, so it's time to fulfill the Spider-Man fanboys' wishes and get a Black Cat into collectors' hands with the new Black Widow book. Right, I'm going to present to you my next 2 character suggestions together because I actually think they'd be well suited for a double pack to accompany the Iron Fist and Luke Cage double pack that has recently come out. Well, I say recently come out. Mine's not arrived yet, but I've seen reviews, so somebody's getting them. But in any case, that's another story. But that's probably give you a clue. That's right, you'll have guessed from that. My next 2 picks are Colleen Wing and Misty Knight. Now, I'm pretty sure, I don't think we've ever had either of these in the Marvel Legends line. I did have a quick look, and I couldn't find an example of them, but please do let me know in the comments down below if I've got that wrong. But I'm fairly sure Colleen Wing and Misty Knight have not appeared to date in Marvel Legends. And if that is the case, then I consider that a pretty egregious oversight because Colleen and Misty are totally badass. I love them. Once again, I'm using my selection criteria here. These are 2 female characters well known for their energetic, acrobatic, hand-to-hand combat styles. They've both got years of comic book panels as the heroes for hire in wild and eye-catching poses that I really do think would have a tremendous shelf presence if we could replicate them. Although, again, to repeat myself, there may have been a different artistic agenda at play there too. You know, they do love selling books to horny teenage boys. That's a fact. But nonetheless, Colleen would be a quick win as well. She essentially wears a jumpsuit that's just like the Black Widow one, just like the Sharon Carter one that we've seen on this book already. So it'd be right in the Hasbro reuse money house. You know what I mean? Just I'm speaking their language there. But I'd also love to see a Misty Knight with a really great bionic arm sculpt. I think that would be super, super epic. I think they're a great double team. They've been overlooked. And, you know, if we've got Luke and Iron Fist, we should have a Misty and a Colleen, really, I think. All right, I'm going to circle back round to the Spider-Man corner of the Marvel-verse now and suggest Spider-Woman, but specifically Jessica Drew's Spider-Woman. Now, once again, I'm looking for a solid classic look uniform here, folks. We did get a Spider-Woman last year. She was in her black outfit with the red trimmings from around 2020 from her own title, but I'm all about the red and yellow classic look. Now, we don't get them coming much more acrobatic than a web slinger, and Spider-Woman, like all the others on the list, totally evokes readers' memories to crazy poses from comic book panels and covers that we could try and push the limits of with the improved articulation on the Black Widow book. Except for that cover, folks. I saw you. Don't go posing your Spider-Woman to be like that cover. That's not the type of action pose I was meaning. I mean combat action. But Spider-Woman, let's have a Spider-Woman on the new book. All right, moving on. I've held off long enough. It's time to turn to the X-Teams for some candidates. I mentioned before, regular viewers around these parts know that when it comes to Marvel Legends, I'm an X-Teams fanboy. So with that in mind, let's get started on some X-Men folks. And my next suggestion is Psylocke. Yeah, it's a predictable one, I know, but if my criteria is I'm looking for acrobatic, martial artsy, hand-to-hand combatant types, then I've got to put Psylocke on the list, haven't I, really? She's a ninja. She's a badass ninja. Like most who were readers of the 90s comics, I'd be probably eager to see her in the classic version of the character, in her ubiquitous and eminently popular Quan Night gear. I mentioned those teenage boys before. But the new articulation would be just what this character needs to get her into some creative ninja combat poses. Armor up with a katana, get a psychic blade on her wrist, really make her stand out on the shelf there. And I'd love to get her all posed up, kicking my new Sabretooth figure's ass. You know what I mean? Getting into it with him. Like that really famous cover from the late 90s. And again, sticking to my criteria, we've not seen a Marvel Legends version of this character for a good 4 or 5 years now. Of the Quan and Ninja style character, we did have the Uncanny X-Men 275 version last year. But you know what? Thinking about it, talking about quick wins earlier, if they did an Electra in the classic look on the new book, then they're not a far cry away from a Psylocke either. It's the leotard, it's the leg wraps, it's that kind of hand ninja look. So if you're just a minor change away, a minor change in a head sculpt away from getting a Psylocke. 2 figures for 1 there, Hasbro. You know what I mean? Again, I'm speaking your language. Are you listening, Dwight? Okay, going to stick with the X-Teams, and one character that is particularly wishlisty for me. I've loved this character for decades now. I want to see a Domino in the new book. Love this character. Been a fan since the 90s. I think we've just got another outstanding candidate for a new book update with Domino because she meets that criteria. If we can have a Black Widow for the Avengers and a Sharon Carter for S.H.I.E.L.D., who are both using the new book, then we can have a Domino for our X-Teams displays because she's an acrobatic, gun-wielding, fighty, brawler type just like them. The only difference is that we've got that super cool aesthetic of the white skin with the triangular eye tattoo, which I think would be, I'm all about shelf presence. I must have said it about 15 times in this video. I think it would really stand out. So I'd love to see her in the line, and I think there's space for a version, but one that's perhaps in her more practical black jumpsuit that she was wearing when she was in the Wolverine's X-Force comic line, or the black and white combo that she wore in the Gail Simone series, something like that. Again, full body jumpsuit stuff. So, we're only a couple of steps away from some good quality Hasbro reuse action there. Deck her out with a couple of handguns, maybe a sci-fi style cannon, and we've got a serious bit of new book shelf presence that you can get posed alongside to Black Widow. I think those two would look great. So yeah, come on, Hasbro, let's get that new book in use. Let's see an updated version of Domino, please. And finally, I don't think it would be a MOdXtra video if I didn't finish up with a bit of a silly one, I suppose. So the last character I'm going to present to you folks is Dazzla. But not just any Dazzla. I want a Disco Dazzla. Yes, give me the Disco Dazzla, Hasbro. When are we going to see a roller skate wearing Dazzla in a nice shiny sequin jumpsuit? I mean, have you seen the stuff that Taylor Swift's wearing on tour right now? It's in fashion. Disco Dazzla would be fashionable as all hell. And just think of all the disco dancing poses you could do with the new book. You can get your foxytrot on, the bump, the hustle, of course, the disco finger. It would just be a really fun, different space to explore that's not, you know, hand-to-hand combat, ninja, martial arts, fighty types, but something with a bit of a different pace and a different flavour. And I think that's the kind of shelf present that some shelves would possibly not be able to handle. So there you go, folks. 10 female Marvel characters I think would make tremendous candidates for the new Black Widow book. Yes, I have overlooked Rachel Summers, Phoenix. You know, I'm an X-Men fan, but I'm not that big a fan of Rachel Summers. I'm just not. I think she looks janky, man. And, like I say, I want people that can pose up. I want that martial arts experience. I want that street-level, brawling, fighting martial arts experience in my poses. Except Dazzla. In that instance, I want roller skates and disco moves. But please do, I invite you to the comments down below. Tell me if there's female Marvel characters that you would love to see, that you're eager to see get a release or a re-release in the new book. Which costume design would you be looking for? Why have you chosen that character? Give me all the good ups and downs, ins and outs of your wants, needs, desires in this space. Don't forget, Phoenix has gone on pre-order. Hopefully I'll post this video in time. But I'll be getting in on that one, another new book character. And yeah, it's been a pleasure to have you. Thanks for listening, folks. I hope you have a great day. Maybe I'll see you around these parts again sometime soon for another video. All right? Cheers.